Hello everyone, it is Joseph here. It is January 1st, 2018. That sounds really weird to say now, but okay. I'm going to tell you my year-end list for 2018. There are only 10 albums on here. I did listen to lots of new music that came out last year. I think there were at least 100 records I listened to, but I didn't get to know them, listen to them intensely as much as these records. Maybe that's why they're on the list, maybe because they're really good, I don't know. But I will justify each record and its placement when I get to them. There are 2 albums on the list I do not physically own, so I will put an image in this corner with the creepy unicorn and the posters. So, yeah, let's talk about the albums I like the most this year. Alright, at number 10 we have Number 3 by Dot Hacker. Dot Hacker is a alternative rock band is probably the best way to classify them. From I believe California. There's not too much to know about them because they're pretty unknown. There's not a whole lot of information about them out there, but they are one of their members is Josh Klinghoffer, who is the Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist. This is way better than that, in my opinion. It's this really shoegazy, atmospheric alternative rock that can get really heavy, but also is like really dreamy. And this record I have been obsessed with since I first heard it back last January. So this album absolutely rules, and I have it on vinyl, and it's great. So number 10, Number 3 by Dot Hacker. Alright, at number 9 we have No Clearance by Vasudeva. This is a math rock band, is how I'm gonna call them. They claim to be a delay rock band, I think, but they're a math rock band, but they use lots of effects pedals, and that's really cool. This is an instrumental record. I found this album when I was going through my really intense prog math rock phase over the summer, and this is a record that really stuck with me and was really experimental. It had all these cool sonic changes where it would go really fast and then it would slow down, and you have this really cool ambient delay part and go back to like this really cool riff. So if you're looking for some cool math rock to just chill out to, or maybe listen to on a drive, definitely a record for you. I have it on vinyl as well, as I do most of these albums, but definitely check out this record. It is amazing. So Vasudeva, No Clearance. So coming in at number 8 we have Ultuula by Rings of Saturn. Rings of Saturn has become one of the more proficient deathcore bands. A lot of people, jokingly I assume, call them aliencore because of their lyrical content and of course their artwork and their just technicality. They were one of the first metal bands I ever got into. I forget how I stumbled upon the music video for Census Massacre, and from then I just listened to them a lot. And this record I pre-ordered when the single came out, like 25 minutes after that happened. This album is just amazing and really fun, really heavy. If you saw my review for it, I talked about how it's almost cinematic in that sense, and I really enjoyed seeing them live a couple weeks ago. Hope to see them again, maybe with more room on the stage, but definitely an amazing album. Check it out if you have not. And of course the album cover is purple, one of my favorite colors. So Rings of Saturn, Ultuula, check it out. Alright, this next record is the first record I do not own physically. So this is Turn Out the Lights by Julien Baker, who is a local artist. She's from here, but now she's kind of blown up and is touring all over the place, playing European festivals. But this album is a singer-songwriter record. It's just vocals and guitar for the most part. There are piano parts and a few strings. I think it's either cello or violin. It's probably violin. Yeah, probably violin. But it's just atmospheric, and you can feel the anguish in the music, and it's really not, I guess you could say it's disgusting in the sense where it feels like the lyrics, like for me, they're really relatable, and they kind of like drag you into this pit of mud and drag you through it till you get to the sidewalk. So yeah, when I don't have the album cover, I just have to. Ooh. But yeah, it's definitely a great record. It's gained mainstream recognition, and I gave it a 10 out of 10. Great album, and I will soon own it on vinyl. So, number 7 is Turn Out the Lights by Julien Baker. Alright, at number 6 we have another record that I heard about this band when I was going through that prog phase I talked about earlier, but it came out pretty recently. This is The Way Forward by Intervals. Intervals is a project from Canada run by Aaron Marshall, who is friends with Pliny, so he's pretty much like one of the modern prog gods. But the record, I mean, if you don't know Intervals, they kind of ditched. They used to use 7 strings and lower tunings, but they kind of, in the last 2 albums, they started using E standard and just 6 strings. And their records have been really, like their last record that came out before this one, forget what it's called, but both records fit together really well. And this instrumental album, by the way, and it is a kind of not necessarily always fast, but it's always moving and progressing. And this album is really fun to listen to if you're doing homework, if you're on a walk, if you're playing video games, if you're, I don't know, talking to people and having it in the background. It's an all-around good record, and it fits into any situation. So definitely check out The Way Forward by Intervals. A really fun album, definitely one of the more happy albums on the list. So yeah. Now we are entering the top 5, and I just realized this whole video I've been pretty like chilled out, so I'm gonna start being more upbeat to express how happy, well, not necessarily happy, but how much these records mean to me. At number 5 we have the Rhapsody tapes by Ocean Grove. Ocean Grove is a nu metal band from Australia. They are signed to UNFD Records, which is basically like Rise Records, but Australia. And they have been gaining some success touring with bands like Northlane, and I will be seeing them in February with August Burns Red, which will be very fun. But this record just kind of like, because nu metal for me was always just Slipknot, Korn, and Rage Against the Machine. I never kind of went beyond that. Those were the 3 bands that I was into. But this is almost an experimental or alternative record, that alternative metal, I mean, because it's not just metal. There's some really chill parts, some almost soundscapey stuff, like the first track, which is an intro, is almost just a soundscape track. So this whole record is really fun and really cool, and I get lots of inspiration from this album. This band is really cool, and they have great energy. If you watch them live, they have concerts on YouTube you can look up, but definitely check out this album if you're a 90s kid, or you like nu metal, or you like guitars, or if you like metalcore. They're kind of like nu metalcore, almost in the sense of Issues, but maybe not melodically the same, but they still have some really catchy melodies that fit really well. So let's go to number 4. Alright, at number 4 we have The Great Collapse by Fit for an Autopsy. I first heard about this band in an interview with Thy Is Murder, who also put out a record this year. Was not particularly impressed by it, but that's not for this video. And I never like paid attention to them until I saw they had a new album out, and I was like, okay, I'll check them out. And from song 1, Hydra, it's so good. It's just relentlessly heavy for the first maybe 7 minutes of the album, and then this amazing clean vocal part. I know clean vocals in deathcore been controversial in 2017, but they do it really well. Eddie Hermida, take note. Yeah, they do a great job of doing clean vocals, but they also do a great job of surprising you by having something really heavy and slowing down into this almost how do I say this, beautifully gruesome uh, arrangement of sounds, and then they plunge back into the heaviness, and that's what this record is, and it is amazing. Check it out, The Great Collapse by Fit for an Autopsy. At number 3, we have probably the most hyped up album of the year. For a group of people. We have the Phantom Anthem by August Burns Red. I didn't really pay attention to this band up until this year. I always kind of just wrote them off as a stereotypical metalcore band because, like I said earlier, not in this video, but I think 2 videos ago, like, metalcore hasn't really impressed me since Killswitch Engage put out Incarnate. But this album is just so good, and it's not the metalcore that's super formulaic, where it's, you know, something heavy and then a cringy chorus about someone's feelings. But I recently got into some of those bands, but it's just really it's technical and it's fun, and yeah, I like this record a lot. It's a double LP. I'm seeing them in February with Ocean Grove, and this album was also pressed here in Memphis, which is really cool. August Burns Red, The Phantom Anthem. It was really fun. Every song is good. Oh, also, I should mention, they know when to take breaks from being heavy, just like Fit for an Autopsy. Like last year, when all I listened to was like Slayer and Anthrax and Death Angel, I wanted all heavy all the time because those records were usually 30 minutes, 25 minutes. But now that I've matured musically, and I listen to, you know, anywhere from a 45-minute to an hour-long album, I don't want heavy all the time because it will get boring for me. And these bands on this list, all of them, know when to take that break where it's like, we've been heavy for this long, we need to take a break and do something more constructive, and more of a transition into the next section of heaviness. So yeah, August Burns Red, The Phantom Anthem, amazing melodic technical metalcore album. So let's talk about number 2. Alright, number 2 is the only CD I have on this list because I did not order the vinyl yet, and it is Veil of Maya with False Idol. Veil of Maya is another one of those bands I just really didn't pay attention to until this year. I saw the music video for the song Overthrow, which has my favorite breakdown of the year. It's just, I mean, if you can call it a breakdown, but it's very jumpy. This whole album is very jumpy. For instance, the song Fracture is just like the whole time, and then it will slow well, not the whole time, but for the first bit, and then it kind of goes into it. All the choruses on here are really catchy. Even my dad, while we were listening to Overthrow in the car, he was like, that hook is really good. And I can't deny that I've walked around my house and I've walked inside Starbucks and sung the chorus to Overthrow, just because it's so good. Yeah, and I surprisingly haven't been able to get into a lot of their older stuff, but this album is really, really good. So, not much I can say, to be honest, other than that it's really good. But, I mean, I believe they were a deathcore band, but then they started doing clean vocals and slowly progressed to being metalcore, which I think if bands are changing genres, they should do that. They should progress and not suddenly do it, like someone we know. Yeah, but Suicide Silence, no, not Suicide Silence, but Veil of Maya did really good on this record, and I look forward to maybe seeing them live someday. Please come to Memphis. Alright, album number 1. The album that took every record that I listened to this year and said, no, this is the best. And I listened to it the most. According to my computer, I've listened to it 103 times, which I find kind of unbelievable, but I listened to it a lot, and that's just the digital version, not to mention the vinyl version. This album that I'm speaking of is DIVISI by A Lot Like Birds. This is a record my good friend Theo. If you don't know Theo, you should know Theo. Um, he told me about this band. Um, they kind of they originated, I guess you could say, from I guess the kind of math rocky post hardcore that Dance Gavin Dance I guess is one of the bands you could relate them to, but they're like the Tool version. Like they have so much going on, like as far as effects pedals and sounds. That's what they were, and then this record came out. And this is almost a pop record, but an alternative pop rock album, I guess you could say. It's very heartbreaking and very dark. The lyrics are very, I think, relatable for anyone that's gone through any difficult situation, especially this summer. We lost two great musicians. I lost a family member, so it's a very it came out at a time that I kind of needed something like it. So this album is absolutely beautiful, sonically and lyrically, and I really hope to see A Lot Like Birds live. Just an amazing record, and I will forever be in the band's debt and Theo's debt for providing me with this piece of music. Also helped me rethink, because at this time, I think when I listened to this record, I was still primarily listening to metal, and I had not yet ventured off into other genres, because if you've been watching my channel since I started talking about music, it was like, the progression was like hardcore punk, thrash metal, deathcore, and then pretty much it was deathcore until this, and then this sparked into so much prog, math rock, shoegaze, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, this record kind of opened my eyes to different worlds of music and how something doesn't need to be heavy all the time for it to be good. Yeah. So sorry if I did kind of find my way through that, but yeah, it's very difficult to explain how these records that I've talked about for the past 10 or so minutes kind of impacted me, because there are just so many of them, and it's kind of difficult to go through. I guess there's like a few hundred songs that I've just talked about, or at least 100 songs collectively between these albums. So I would suggest you listen to all of them if you have the time, and I think each record brings something to the table that if you haven't heard it before, you'll learn something, even if it's not something you normally listen to. So yeah, thanks for watching this video, talking about my top 10 records of the year. Sorry it came a bit late. I've had this list written for a while. I did want to quickly mention something. This past week or so, I've gone through and listened to records that came out this year that I didn't put on this list. And I think what makes a record have its place on the top 10 is the record that I keep coming back to. A record that interests me or that I learn something from over and over again. And all these records every time I listen to them, I learn something new. And I think that's something that when someone makes a record, they should hope that that's something they can provide from their work. That's something I hope I can provide. So yeah, these 10 records kind of sum up 2017 if you listen to them, maybe even in that order. Yeah. Alright, thanks for listening to me talk about a bunch of records that you probably haven't heard before. So I'll see y'all. I'll see you all soon, I assume. I might make a New Year's resolution video, but that's pretty cheesy, so yeah. Got some announcements coming, I'm gonna say in the next month or so, that you guys will really like. So yeah, hope you all are having a fun New Year. I'll see you all later.